Hello? Anybody here? Okay, well, let's move these on. Oh. Oop, I see somebody. Who is on? I can't see. Oop. Guess there was somebody. I will wait for people to come on. That way we can chat. Computer giving me updates. Is that Jackie? Hi, Jackie. Oh, it's Jack. How are you? Hi, Mama Squirrel. Sorry, my hair's a little crazy. I took it down. All right. So, since there's some people, I will get into my little witchy haul. Yeah, it's cold here. I think next week it's going to be like in the 20s for the high. I know, it was crazier. I cut it all off like 4 months ago. No, 6. It was down to my back. So first part of the video is just some stuff I got at Dollar General today. I got this for my altar for inlet. This laptop. Sorry, this is my first live video. But this color is really dim on my laptop. Oh. Okay, so that's the first thing, but I'm going to get into the Goodwill stuff. I got 2 herb books. And I think it's showing backwards, but this one is called Herbs Forever. And it has pictures of herbs. It talks about herb oils and vinegar. It has recipes. Like here's one for opal basil. I got another one. It's herbal recipes for cooking. It is called The Pride of Cooks. Those are 2 of the least non-interesting things. But this is one of the favorite things that I got. It is a Hi Bex. It is a Turkish plate. It's actually made in Turkey. I got it for $2. Got a little thing to hang it on the wall. I'm going to hang it up above my altar once I get some screws and stuff. But I don't know if you can really see it. It's metal that has been etched. It's all hand done. I actually went to a Goodwill that I didn't even know existed, like 5 miles from my house, and I've lived here for 23, 24 years because the Goodwill that's close to my house in Charlestown, I don't like it just because they actually like write on the stuff with markers and it ruins it, but this one's actually really nice and clean, and they have so much owl stuff. Have this little guy puts a tea light in. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can adjust or add some lights. Okay, there we go. See a little owl. Got a lot of owl stuff. So I got these little owl containers. I got 2 of them. They were 99 cents a piece. Oh, and this. You guys are going to love this. I got this. It's a girl with swans. I'm going to be putting this on my altar for Imlet as a representation for Brigitte, since she is the goddess of swans. And it was $2. I know, Jen. Just wait until I get into some more of the stuff that I got, because there was so much stuff there. It was really unbelievable. Yeah, there was so much owl stuff, but I'm trying not to really buy a lot of stuff because I've kind of accumulated a lot, but I got this little wizard. Dude, it's all hand painted with wood. There's a little dragon in the back. I got this, which is awesome. It's a candle holder with this in the middle, which you can put a tall pillar candle, but I'm going to use this as an offering plate. I got a new chalice. It was $3. And of course, everything I got was all blue tags. I know. And the crazy thing is, I probably need to stop buying stuff, but I actually ordered more stuff off of Amazon. I got stencils for my Book of Shadows, so that way I can let my art stuff go crazy. But I need to figure out storage because right now, a lot of my stuff, I have it, hi Thomas, because right now I have a lot of my stuff that I'm not using in boxes, and I just pull stuff out as I need it, and it's a pain in the ass because I need to have stuff in a more organized fashion because right now I have a lot of my herbs that are like in the bottom of boxes under heavy stuff. Yeah, but of course everything I got was blue tags and this week was red tags. But I have a thing for chalices. I actually have like 3 or 4 of these. But one thing I was thinking about doing was since I have some of this extra stuff is maybe putting altar kits together for new witches. Just because I literally have a lot of extra stuff. Hi, Gypsy. Yeah, Jen. I have salt right now. In the middle of my altar, I have a glass bowl that I got from Dollar Tree with black sand in it that I use to put stuff in that I burn. And I also use it to put my incense out. All right, are you guys ready for the big surprise? It's a goddess candle holder. I'm literally so excited about this. And I'll actually be able to put my tall skinny candles in it because the candle holders that I got from the flea market, they're actually too small for candle holders for the types of candles that they make now, for the tapered ones, because they're bigger at the bottom. But it's kind of hard to see. I need to clean her up because I guess somebody actually really used this and there's wax on it. But she has this little dangly thing. So I can actually get some charms to hang from her. But isn't she pretty? I don't know. You can see, I don't know if it's handmade, but she was $4. But the really cool thing is why I probably found all this stuff is the little town where I went to that has the Goodwill. It's kind of a witchy type area. It's like more eclectic, more liberal, I guess. So there's more of that over there because that actually is where the one metaphysical shop is that I go to all the time. Oh, and I got one other thing. I'm actually giving it to Maddie. It's this little candle holder. It's Chinese. but it's got really pretty artwork. On it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Witchy haul. So I guess the second part I wanted to do is the goddess talk. I just wanted to talk about the goddess that I invoked last weekend on the blood wolf moon. It was right after. It was at the same time I did the fairy altar. Because I was thinking, I was like, well, I kind of need a goddess for this fairy spell, and I thought, well, maybe Freya, because I had Freya reach out to me a couple of weeks ago. I actually had, hi Tar, I actually had a few different gods and goddesses reach out to me because I had a vision while I was meditating in a cleansing bath. Light's gonna go away for a second. It was a vision where I saw a white feather with a black tip, and then it went away, and there was a gray tabby cat, and then the tabby cat went away, and then there was a wolf howling, and something that looked like a coyote running away. And when I did more research, what I actually thought was a coyote is actually not a coyote. It was an African golden wolf, I think is the term. And actually the first thing I saw, it wasn't like the wings fluttering. You know how when you look at butterfly wings, how you can kind of see the veins and the colors? That's what I saw with the flapping, and then it was the wing and the cat. So I looked all of this up, and the god that all this stuff represents was Dionysus, is associated with butterflies. The feather is Mot, and then Ta, or To, the Egyptian goddess, and then the wolf, or the coyote, was Anubis, and then the tabby cat was Freya. But I picked Iona because I had this page in my book of shadows that was empty, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do with it because everything's kind of out of order, and I wanted to put everything in order. I was going to do the Wheel of the Year, but now I want to do like the Wheel of the Year and then do each Sabbath, a page for each Sabbath. So I was like, well, I'm going to draw a fairy. Well, I've already shown this before, and the fairy turned into a spell. The first spell that I've actually written myself. I have some fairy symbols up here, one for success, and I actually ended up doing this spell last week on the blood moon, actually during the eclipse at midnight. It's a banishing spell and also a spell bringing in success and protection. And I was looking for a goddess to go with it. And I was going to do Freya. And then I was like, well, no, she's not associated with fairies. So I looked stuff up, and I came across the goddess Onya. She is a Celtic goddess, spelled Aine. And I have my notes here for the fairies. I was looking up offerings for the Fae and for Iona, since she is the Celtic goddess of the fairies. Thank you, Mama Squirrel. Yeah, I was worried about it rhyming, then I was like, well, it's whatever I want, so I'll do it. And offerings for Iona can basically be the same thing as fairies. They like alcohol, juice, sweets, water, meat, fresh fruit, honey, dairy products, old jewelry, beads, broken glass, ribbon, confetti, origami, hanging decorations, stones, crystals, anything that's pretty and shiny, flowers and leaves, bones, little birdhouses, doors, wind chimes, garden. And one way to leave an offering for the Fae that doesn't include an altar is cleaning up outside, like going in the forest, picking up litter, things like that. Going someplace that's wild and mystical, doing Reiki, or doing self-searching and looking for good memories. And if anybody wants to do a Fae altar, I actually have this little blessing that you can do. I said this while I smudged it with Palo Santo. Come one, come all, good fairies, hear my call. I believe in you and you're kind too. Dance on my garden's flowers, stay and play for hours. Good fairies, you are welcome here. We hold your magic and lives dear. Good fairies, you are welcome here. I did not write this myself. I got it somewhere. I do not remember where I got it. And then I have this long blessing for Iona that I do before I invoke her. But if anybody doesn't know about her, she is the Celtic goddess of love, but she is also the goddess of other things. There's different variations of stories, and one, she is the wife of the sea god, I'm not going to pronounce this right, but Monanan Maclir. She is also the fairy queen. She is the goddess of earth and nature, and she is a lady of the lake because there's a lake in Limerick, Ireland that is dedicated to her. It is believed that she brought luck and good magic to her worshippers. Some identify her as the brighter side of the famous goddess Morrigan. She had many lovers, and she bore many fairy human children. And as a goddess of the moon, she is also the deity of agriculture and cared for the crops. She is celebrated on August 1st. Iona is part of the triple goddess group with her two sisters, Fene and Grian. During the full moon, they ride their horses and play in the Loch Glure, a lake dedicated to Iona in the county limit. She can also take the form of a red mare, the Lairderd. She is associated with midsummer, so she's celebrated during Litha, the summer solstice, and she also has sacred days following Lughnasadh. She is associated with the sun and moon, so she's also the goddess of the moon, the air element, southwest direction, and the druid herb meadowsweet. Her sacred animals are the red mare, the rabbit, and the swan. Her sister Grian ruled over the and Iona ruled over the light half. So her sister Griana is ruling over this time, and in the coming times, Iona is the goddess of life and love in the more alive times. I don't know if I have that. You can invoke Anya for love spells, fertility, fairy magic, abundance, prosperity, punishing love crimes, keeping magical vows, revealing fairies, bearing magical children, and getting rid of unsuitable mates. The candle colors and corresponding colors for her is gold and red. She loves fire because she's also the goddess of forging. In Celtic lore, being the mother of fairies, she likes the same things: milk, honey, sparkly jewelry, gemstones, water, alcohol, sweets, and flowers. Her moon phase is the full moon. Her sun phase is midsummer noon. The stone and gems used for her are garnet and rose quartz. Totems, horse, swan, and the rabbit. Herbs are meadowsweet and yew. So, and what's neat is one of my spirit animals is the horse. So I already have a horse on my altar. And I know there's some people who like stick to everything where it's rigid, and they would probably be like, oh, well, you can only, invoke her during midsummer. But during the blood moon, she's the goddess of the full moon. So, and it was red, and she turns into a red rare. So what perfect time then to invoke her during the full blood moon? Sorry, guys, I'm getting caught up on the comments. I have not read The Mist of Avalon. I've heard it. Her name is actually spelled A as in apple, I-N-E, Thomas. So her name is Celtic, so it is pronounced completely different than how it looks. Just like how Samhain is spelled, you would think it would be pronounced Samhain, and it's pronounced Samhain. Yeah, but there's some of the tales with Iona are actually pretty sad. There's some where she isn't married to the sea god, but she can also be used during the full moon. It pretty much seems like whatever story you look at, she's associated with a lot of stuff. So you can invoke her pretty much anytime. I just think her magic would probably be stronger, especially during a full moon, during midsummer, or when the sun is the highest during the day, during the summer solstice. Oh, I also got a new tarot deck if anybody wants to see my new tarot deck. Oh, are you talking about whoever wrote The Mist of Avalon is controversial? Okay, I'll have to look that up when I'm done. I actually found a new book series. I'm going to order it on Amazon. It seems pretty cool. Let me open up my app. It's a fictional book about witches. I have app names. It's called Harley Merlin and the Secret Coven. It's a trilogy. Has anybody read that one yet? I don't know. I read about it. It seems pretty neat. But this is the new tarot deck that I got. I've seen a few people get it. It's Everyday Tarot. And it has this little book. I've seen a few people in the group that had this. I think Maddie did. I actually, and I see what everybody was talking about with this deck, the box. I do not like it. The only thing I like about the cards is they're smaller. Oh, another good book series, if you can stomach the wishy-washy love stuff, is the Dark Witch series by Nora Roberts. That's actually pretty good. It's the Everyday Tarot deck. Sorry, let me turn my flashlight on back on my phone because my house is weird and there are no ceiling lights in the living room. So the only thing we have is the lamps, and they don't provide much light. So it just has these two helpful cards about spreads and how to do a tarot reading, but the art on the cards, it's not really that intricate. It's pretty simple. But the other new tarot deck that I have, it's my favorite one that I own. It's the Green Witch Tarot deck. And these cards are actually freaking gorgeous. I already did a Witchy haul video on these, but I love them so much, I just want to show them again. I actually got these for Imlic. Aren't these cards? Oh, here's the Earth Mother. Card number 3. I love these cards. And let me see if I can find my card in here. It is. Sorry, I kind of got little hands, so these cards are hard to sort through, and they're new. I need to break them in. Where is that card? Ah, here we go. Alright, this card is my favorite card out of the tarot deck. It is the Knight of Pentacles. But there's just something about it that it reminds me of feminine strength. And I love it. This is my favorite card in the deck. Ooh. But the first tarot deck that I actually got is a color your own tarot deck. And it has a book too. I don't know if anybody has this yet or not. It's a create your own tarot deck. I haven't finished it. This is all that I started so far. But I started with the markers, but they kind of don't look right. So I'm going to try colored pencils. And then that is the end of the major arcana. But if anybody wants to see any more of my books, I'm welcome to share. I have a lot. Luna, it's kind of like a cardstock, so I think the paint pens would actually bleed through the back. They're not like a slick laminated surface. And this is, I like coloring. I don't care if people think it's juvenile, but this is another coloring book. It's great for beginner stuff. Let me see if I can find a spell in here. Let me see if I can find the pig one. So this is a money spell. But it tells you about the money spell and about different correspondences, and it even has a little tips here, like this one. It says a 2-liter soda. That one's not really spell worthy. It just tells you how much money a soda bottle will hold. But in the back, it has the coloring pages. So you color the page as part of the spell. So you kind of get more of your intent in there, because like I remember from Mama Squirrel's videos that I watched, which actually helped me get started on my path, is the more intent you can put into something, the better the results you will have. Yeah, I have another spell book too. I actually really like this one. It's the Book of Spells. It has some spells in here, and it has correspondences with the moon phases. And it has spells that you can do, and then it has stuff in here for you to adapt the spells. I love this one. It has moon phases. It has days of the week and the correspondences, which I know there's some people that do the whole day of the week thing, like where you only do these spells during this day of the week at this time of day with this. Amy Cesari, her books are really good, and I think she illustrated everything herself. But one thing that is really neat that I love about this, it's just kind of like a cute touch. It has a certificate in the back where you put your name saying that you are a real witch. I know. I've always loved the moon, even before I got started on the path. Like, especially when it was a full moon or when the waxing and waning phases, I just go outside and stare up at the moon. Because even when it's not a new moon, if you look at the waxing phase, you can actually still kind of see the outline of the moon and the shadow going across. But one thing I need to do research on is, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, the witch's moon. The full moon with the ring around it. Mama Squirrel, do you know what I'm talking about? The witch's moon? I don't know. I just remember somebody telling me about it when I was. I need to research that because I remember somebody telling me about it when I was younger. I also need to talk to one of my cousins because there was somebody in our family that was supposed to be a witch, like actually practicing. There's people in my family that have psychic gifts, like my cousins and my grandmother. And my great-grandmother actually had some really weird stuff happen because when we were little, my great-uncle would always tell us the family ghost stories. So, but I do remember somebody telling me about that there was actually a practicing witch in our family. And then there was something else about that back in the day, somebody in our family crossed a not so good witch and our family got hexed to never find love and to be miserable. Which makes sense because everybody in my family has been divorced at least once. Yeah, I know. It would be really good. But like my mom, very religious, but not like shove it down your throat, more like go to church on Easter and Christmas. That sort of thing. And I think she has some of the stuff too, but she just kind of ignores it. But I kind of have the same stuff that my grandmother does. More like dreams that are premonitions. Because if I talk to her about it, she'll tell us it's not like she's scared. Because she she's one of the people that always instilled in us about bad omens. Because she has omens that come to her, she has dreams, she sees things. A couple of things I remember her telling me was, it was when she was younger and still married to my grandfather. There was something that happened in the family, and for 3 days straight, she kept having a black raven come to her window and would peck on the window. And I know that that's always been an omen that death will come for somebody in the house. And on the 3rd day, somebody in her family died. And then there was another one where my grandmother had a heart attack. And I know the whole black cat thing is kind of a controversial thing with different meanings. But her and my great uncle, they were on the way to the hospital when my great grandmother was in there because she had a heart attack. And there was a black cat that ran out in front of the car, and my grandmother looked at my great uncle and told him that their mom was dead. And when they got to the hospital, she was dead, and at the same time that the cat ran across them in front of the road was the exact time that my great grandmother died. Another thing that my great grandmother had, now all of this was back before I was born. One of our cousins was born with hydrocephalus, where you get fluid on the brain, and she couldn't walk or anything like that. And my grandmother was younger, maybe about 14 or 15, and she had a dream that they were in the kitchen at her parents' house, and her mother had painted the floor green. And the little girl that was our cousin ran across the floor and left black footprints in the green paint and stopped at the door and turned and waved, and then the next day she died. And my grandmother didn't know what to make of it, and they said that what she saw was her going to heaven. And then another thing that I remember her saying that she saw, I don't remember what it correlated to. It was somebody else in the family dying. That it was back when all the airplanes would do the pictures up in the sky. And she was in the car with her parents, and she looked up. She was maybe like 5 or 6, and she told her family, like, look up at the sky and at the angels that the man had drawn, and there was no angels, and then somebody else in the family died. And then my great grandmother on my mom's side, her stuff is pretty much more a little bit supernatural in a different way. Just that I remember my great uncle telling us about how she saw an alien when she was younger, and she had guys come in the black suits, and yeah, so that's pretty much my family. My one cousin, the only spiritual stuff that she has happened is she has deceased family members that come to visit her. And my other cousin actually has full apparitions of random people that she doesn't even know that just come and pop into her house. And it scares the shit out of her. Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else that anybody wants to talk about? Because the one thing that I've been starting to realize on my path is, even though I'm new and I still act like I'm new, it's kind of like when people are talking about things, I realize that I know more than what I think. I realize that I know more than what I realize that I know. And I'm not saying I know everything. It's just I know more than when I started with certain things. Yeah, I know, Mama Squirrel. I hope, but I kind of, the whole psychic thing with the medium stuff, I've had some bad stuff happen, and it's kind of scary. Because I actually had to shut my third eye for a while because I kept having weird things happening. I was having night terrors, sleep paralysis. I couldn't sleep at night. And I wasn't mentally ready for all of that. And if you're not mentally ready for the thing that with the mediumship, then it can really fuck with your head. Because when I opened it back up, I literally thought I was going crazy because I kept seeing things, I kept hearing things, and then I just realized that it was the fuzziness of everything just like rushing back in. Oh, I know. My internet screws up too. I love Comcast. Oh, and I know before I mentioned that I have a traveling book of shadows. This is it. Sorry, this is my first live. I had a thought in my head of what I was going to do, and I'm going to be more prepared next time. Yeah. And this is just what the inside looks like. It's actually a 6-ring little binder with these antique looking pages, but as I add more stuff to my bigger book of shadows, I'm going to add it in here because this one I'm not really going to get artsy in it because there's just not enough room. Yeah, because you can see the pages aren't that big. And but my big book of shadows that I just decided to make a couple weeks ago is actually just a sketchbook from Walmart. All right, bye, Mama. But I'm gonna get a separate one and just use it for deities. But I need to go too because the fiance is going to be home soon, and I need to start cooking dinner. Yeah, I know. Just if you have Frontier up in your area, don't get Frontier because they will fuck you over with your internet. Believe me. Yeah, but I need to go to Walmart tomorrow and get another one of these because I want to do a separate book just for deities because I don't want to clog this up. Oh, and another thing that I found is really neat is there's a magazine called Heirloom Magazine, and they have a lot of neat stuff in it. They actually have the vinegar. There's my fairy pages. They have these vinegar infusions that I just took stuff and cut it out. They have information on how to make hydrosils, which is like rose water and things like that. And then they had a recipe to make love in a mist potion from the flower. This is what it looks like. And then it has, and then I found this other stuff in that magazine too about how to make a dream pillow with anise seed that's supposed to help you sleep better and get rid of bad dreams. And then a thing on how to use the lovage herb. Yeah. But if you're looking for something cheap for a book of shadows, these at Walmart are like $8. And the pages are kind of sturdy. I wouldn't use paint on the pages, but you can use pencils and pens. Just make sure that the ink isn't too heavy because I made that mistake with the one ink pen I have. It's kind of like a fountain pen. It bled through on the page, so I'm just going to use a regular ballpoint pen. But I don't really have much in here. I know some people are like, oh, you don't want to show anybody your book of shadows, but I don't care. It's just kind of nice to show what I have so far. I don't really have much in here. I have the Wiccan Reed, the different moon phases and what type of spells to use for them. My fairy spell. I have my different zodiac signs for the different cultures. I have my Babylonian one, my Hebrew one, Chinese, Native American, Celtic, the modern one, which modern day zodiac signs are the same as Babylonian, which is kind of neat. So if you look up your signs, the Babylonian ones are pretty much the same as the modern day ones. They're just a little bit different. I have my Hindu one, Egyptian, Norse, Mayan, Greek. One of the hardest ones to figure out what your zodiac sign is actually Egyptian. And then there's another one that had something to do with elephants. I think it was some type of African. I have my spirit animals: wolf, horse, owl, butterfly, tiger, dolphin, frog, fox. Which is why I have all the owl stuff. And then I have different herbs and what they're good for. Magical trees, flowers, stones, which I have most of these. Actually, one of the magical stones I have in here is actually what my engagement ring is. It's a blue topaz. I actually got it off of Etsy. But I have to go, guys. My fiance is going to be home in a few minutes, and he is working a lot of overtime this weekend, so I'm going to spend some time with him. All right, bye, everybody.